What's poppin', players? Welcome back to the Two Penny Gameclub review, your monthly video game book club. I am your host, Tavin Bothel, here with my good friends and co-hosts. Say hello to the people, Connor, Elliott.
Hi, how are you all doing today? I am going to be peppy today.
Okay, and say hello to the people, Phil, Shoemaker.
I'm not going to be peppy. I'm just regular today.
Oh, jeez, with these guys.
No, hey, how's it going, guys? I'm Phil.
Hey.
Wait. With
Yeah.
these guys,
Uh-huh.
you always say, Connor, you don't have enough energy. And then I bring the energy, and I'm still open to criticism. See, I can't win. I should just be monotone more, because clearly it doesn't matter.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Two Penny Game Club, your monthly video game book club in which me, Phil, and Connor all play a game in the background for a month and bring a fresh, hot review to you at the beginning of each new month. This month is indeed...
Like pizza.
Like a pizza. This month is indeed Final Fantasy VII, the original game. We usually have a picker wheel spin and pick it for us, but we're trying a new thing out where we alternate between one of our choices and the picker wheel. So last month, Connor picked Final Fantasy VII for us to play. This month, the picker wheel is returning, and the wheel shall decide our fates. What we do on this channel is we play the game in the background. At the beginning of the month, we review it for your pleasure. We give new objective takes. We talk about the game's legacy and so forth and all that made it great. And then we rank it amongst every other game we've played on the show in the hopes to build the definitive list of all the greatest games ever made. Now, is it correct? Not really.
Oh, shut up. He said that, and he was thinking Yakuza.
I was going to say, he targets
was.
Yakuza every single time.
Every time.
Yakuza 0 is currently number 4 on this list. Let me tell you what, shouldn't be that high. Shouldn't be that high. Anyways, we have done games such as The Last of Us.
It shouldn't be that high. It should be higher.
We've done games such as The Last of Us, Mario 64, and Chrono Trigger, and so many other great games. Go check out the playlist to go catch up on the full list of games that we have reviewed on this show. But enough of that. Let's get to the good stuff. Final Fantasy VII was released January 31st, 1997, or September 7th, or October 2nd of the same year internationally, depending on where you lived. You know, it has a Metacritic rating of an 81. Not exactly as high as I thought.
Not me, yeah.
Little, honestly, little low if we're being serious.
Yeah.
But and as of 2005, I saw numbers saying that the game has sold 9.8 million units. I'm sure that they have crossed 10 plus million. They may be even closing in on 15 by this point with of course, the PlayStation 4 remake, it arriving on Nintendo Switch, Steam, just a whole bunch of different places where you can play this game. And with the remake series coming out, I am certain that many gamers have gone back and played the original. Along, with Crisis Core getting its remaster a couple of years ago. And ladies and gentlemen, if I may start, Final Fantasy VII is a fantastic game. It really is. It's awesome. I adore it so much, and this playthrough it's just solidified that even more for me. I really love this game. But it is far from a perfect game. Very far from a perfect game. It's got a lot of flaws. But I think usually I try to start with the positive, and then I'll get to the negative of the game on the back end. This time I'm going to do it in reverse. I'm going to start with the negative because I don't think I have that much negative to say about the game, and then I want to end with praise. So the biggest standout about this game and its biggest problem is that it aged like milk. It is quite possibly the ugliest game we've played in this series so far. It does not look good. Anything presentation-wise, it's just not hitting the way that they want it to hit in 2024. There are, of course, still certain standout scenes that still hit quite well. The ones where they want you to feel something, you feel something. But anytime they try to, break the tension with comedic things or comedic scenes, it doesn't play, it doesn't work. The game tries to be funny in a lot of moments, and it's just not. And Graphically, man, it just doesn't hold up. It looks like shit. It's very confusing sometimes to understand what you're looking at on screen. And I think it feeds into the level design, where the level design of the game is pretty bad. It's pretty abysmal. Like, you very often are not quite sure where to go. When you move from screen to screen, you're not 100% sure where the next screen is going to take you to. You get like a general idea. I'm thinking of like early Midgar segments where like you're running around sector 7 or 6 or whatever, and you're like, I'm pretty sure this is the way to Wall Market, but you know, I'm not 100% sure. And you'll find yourself taking the wrong turn. You'll find yourself going up and down when you should have gone left and right. Very often on screens, it's so like just janky and muddled looking, and the way the characters move on it to where the pre-rendered backgrounds don't match with how the characters are moving. So there are times where you think you need to go left and you actually need to go down. I think the most prime example of this is one crawling up the wall in Wall Market is confusing as hell. But the one that always stands out to me is when you're in the Nibelheim reactor and there is that screen where you're supposed to like make a little bit of a left and then jump on a chain to climb your way down. Every single time I enter that room, every single time without fail, I always miss that little left turn, and I go to the top of the screen and go, how the fuck do I get down this chain? Oh, yep, okay, that little bridge right there. The UI is atrocious. I feel like I'm playing Mickey Mouse Word document simulator. It's just ugly, like, and it just doesn't work. And the little floating hand is distracting, in my opinion. The way that items are laid out is a huge detriment in the active time battle system. You end up scrolling through dozens of items to find one specific thing that you need. Whether you organize it or not, you're going to have to do this at some point. And you lose precious time, and the enemy attacks you or casts a different spell on you that has a different effect, which means you now have to search for that item. It gets to the point to where you're like, it's just not even worth using the items. I may as well just use Phoenix Downs and potions and elixirs when I need to. Other than that, maybe I'll use a Maiden's Kiss to cure Frog, but other than that, I'm not using items to cure sleep or paralysis or fury. None of it. I'm just letting it, I'm just playing it out, and I'm just taking my beating, and I'm just continuing along the cycle. I think that's it for my big criticisms. I think that's it. I think that's all I got to say. I've got smaller criticisms of the game, which, you know, I have, you know, a little bit more gray feelings on. For example, I think the plot of this game is awesome. And I think the characters are super lovable and memorable and charismatic. But I think the writing of the game, the moment-to-moment dialogue writing of the game, is not very good. Now, this could be a translation issue. This could be just how the writers of video games happened in 1997. You have very few examples of good writing in games. And as you get deeper into the game, I think my biggest problem with it is that the characters lose their character and they start just becoming support pillars for Cloud, with a few exceptions. Tifa, I think for the most part, kind of keeps her character. Barrett comes in and out of it, where like sometimes he'll pop out and be himself and then sometimes he won't. Everybody else in the party just kind of becomes a support pillar for Cloud. And when Cloud isn't that interesting of a personality and is more of a self-insert for the player, having your other characters fade and just become support pillars for this character who's not interesting makes them all uninteresting in the long run. But again, for the most part, all of their personalities break through and you love them, and you have an idea of who these characters are in your head, and you love that idea of them.
With one exception.
Yeah, one exception. We'll get there. Those fucking piece of shit. But again,
is it really one exception with you, Tavin? I thought you didn't like more than just one.
There's two. There's a solid two.
I know what the second one is.
I don't like.
I know what the second one is.
But the plot is fucking cool. And it deceives the player on a bunch of different things. Of course, there is the main big one giant spoiler that happens in this game that everybody on the internet knows. But there's a bunch of other spoilers that are just as, if not more important than that one. And we'll get into that in a little bit. This is not going to be a spoiler-free conversation, by the way. Like, spoilers will happen. And so if you have no idea what happens in the later half of Final Fantasy VII, you may want to tune out now. But the plot is fucking cool. The world building, the atmosphere, the feeling of just exploring the world of Final Fantasy VII captures my interest every single time. It's awesome. Even past how ugly some of the scenes are, even past how ridiculous the presentation of the characters models can be, past all of that, just the world and the atmosphere of Final Fantasy VII, exploring Midgar, exploring the open world, coming across the weapons and coming across each individual town. It's just a joy to go through every single time. The battle system, I think, with the exception of how the items are pretty much useless because you lose too much time scrolling through your menu. With the exception of that, the battle system's really fucking cool. Active time battle is one of my favorite ways to do turn-based combat, just because it keeps you in the fight. You're absolutely always interested in what's happening. And then match that with the materia system, which allows you to basically free build your party however you want. And there's a lot of just creativity and ways that you can build it out, to the point to where, like, just earlier this week, I went into Connor's room and I was like, oh, you have Cloud being your healer. That's interesting. And he goes, yeah, I always have Cloud be my healer. And I'm like, oh, that's fascinating.
I didn't say that.
Oh, no?
I in this playthrough, yes. In past playthroughs, I did it differently.
Yeah. But, like, overall, I always walk away with Final Fantasy VII feeling like, wow, that's such a lovely game, and I have so many great feelings about it, despite some of the elements of the game that don't work, especially in 2024. I think the sum is greater than its parts, and just overall, it just elevates it to being one of the greatest games of all time. This is however, my third time playing the game in as many years, and it was a little bit going through the motions in the beginning, but eventually I found my groove, and I was like, you know what? No, I just love this game so much. But Phil, you, my good friend, have never played Final Fantasy VII, at least not all the way through, and and I'm very interested to see where you're at with this game, with this playthrough.
Well, you mean until now?
Yeah.
Because I did complete this game. Well, not complete it. I finished the main story. I did beat the game. Yeah. So this game to me, like I've known the story for a long time. I was a very avid watcher of the Final Fantasy VII Mission Abridged from Team 4-Star. So like I heard like a more comedic version of the tale. But you know, they hit all the big beats. You know, they hit all those beats. They just add some extra stuff here and there, just for like funny to happen. But I found myself really enjoying this game, and it was also like one of those things where while I was playing through it, I had that like show on in the background. One, because it was a good like helpful tip of like, oh, I'm supposed to go here next. Oh, right, like because it's not always super clear where you're supposed to go. Because it kind of just wants you to explore a good amount of time. Like there's also like things that you can do in different orders and stuff, and so yeah, I had a really good time playing. I found once I had like a party like full, that was kind of what I stuck with the whole game. The whole game I basically just hard kept Cloud, Tifa, Barrett when I could. There are some times throughout the story where you have to switch people here and there. So when that happened, there were times where like I would just keep them in the party for longer. It was like, oh, I can go switch back to my usual team. But when it came to keeping everybody the same level, I think, does this game like level up your characters in the background for you? Like
it does, but not to the same extent as the characters in your party, but enough to keep them viable when they switch over to them.
Because I swear there were times like, because you know Kate Sith, I never use Kate Sith, right? Like the only time I use Kate Sith is to get the limit for the trophy. And I swear like that was one of the last ones I did. And it was still like a fine level when I went to go try to grind it out. And I was like, this doesn't seem right. But I was like, oh, it must level stuff up in the background for you. but yeah, I was super into the story that was going on, like the differences between like the show that was going on and how they take it, and the actual game itself. A lot of the music in this game really really fucking good. I understand like how people talk about this game and why it's been in the conversation for like one of the best games of all time for so long. Because of how satisfying this game is to play and explore around, and the battle system being what it is. I hate the menus, kind of like what Tavin was talking about. I hate going through all that, and it's infuriating trying to find an item. Like, I could be wrong, but I was even arranging materia in ways to like make spells go in different spots, but I don't think it worked. I feel like it still stayed the same.
If you go into the configuration menu, you can have the game prioritize healing spells or destructive spells or stuff like that. But other than that, I don't know how you organize it. I think it's just based off of that order.
Another thing that's frustrating with this game is even if you only have like summons, right? So there's these materia that lets you summon like Ifrit, Shiva. There's a Titan one. There's pretty much one for every like icon in Final Fantasy 16, which is like the only Final Fantasy game I've actually played all the way through. So when you only have one summon on your list, still sometimes you have to scroll down to find it.
Yep, it's because they're in a pre-built list for some reason,
and it's so fucking obnoxious.
It's the same thing with the enemy skill. The enemy skill does the same thing. Which
yes,
yeah,
that's another
annoying.
thing.
That's annoying too. Just show me
it's
the
like
ones I have.
If I only have one assigned to this character, then just put that on the top of the list. Let me like stop making me scroll down several times and do all this stuff, wasting my time.
I'm running out of time here, Square. System.
Exactly.
The Malboro's kicking my ass
twice in a row. I gotta hit this Tonberry as many times as possible before it comes and kills me.
And you're screaming like, no, please don't get closer. Please don't get closer. And he gets closer.
Yes.
He always does.
And then you instantly dead. Which is funny because I think I only ran into Tonberries twice in my entire playthrough. One being in the gold saucer.
Oh, in like Battle Square?
Yeah, Battle Square.
Yeah. I can't remember when I ran into them, but I never had an issue with them this playthrough. Fucking asshole.
But no, I was gonna say I remember them at least in the conversation around this game. I thought they would be more prevalent, but they were not. But yeah, I really liked I really vibe with the characters. Like whenever we're on the High Wind. I don't know why I couldn't remember Sid's last name. Whenever it's the same name of the ship from Kingdom Hearts and all that good stuff.
Big fan.
Did you know that? Did you know that that's the name of the ship, the default name of the ship in Kingdom Hearts?
I did not.
No, because Kingdom Hearts is a bad game, and we don't like
The
talking
Tavin
about
just
bad
keeps
games.
on every time.
No, it's a great game. Anyway, yeah, I really had a great time with this game. I like how a lot of the attacks were really flashy, like when you got like the really high level magic. I was super into that. My kind of how you were talking about how you kind of had your party arranged. I kind of had Cloud as my caster, and Barrett was like a big tank that I had. He had the most health out of everybody, and then Tifa was just being Tifa, doing the roulette reel anytime she got a limit, which was really fun. I like that. Very satisfying when you get all Yaz, which when I had Final Heaven, which is like I think it's like 6 or 7 things going in a row. It was very difficult to get all of those as Yaz.
Yes, it is. Yeah, because 1 or 2 of those wheels is mostly misses.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
and you're like, fuck. Okay, let's see if we even get this.
And what's
attack
interesting?
off.
What's interesting is it seemed like it would be a different wheel that would have all the misses on it each time.
I don't know about that.
It's what it felt like. It felt like it was sometimes the 3rd one, sometimes it was like the 5th one.
I think it's usually like the 5th one.
Is it like assigned to a certain level of the limit?
I think so because because she doesn't have limit breaks like everybody else, where you like select your level of limit break. Like she just has more wheels attached.
Well,
to
you
it.
still have to select that level.
Oh, to get to more wheels, that makes more sense. Or that makes sense. Yeah. Well,
like if you're at this level, you have to get that.
Well, I'm glad you seem to have enjoyed your time with it, Phil.
Yeah. I do understand the conversation around why this game is so beloved.
Yeah, that part still definitely rings true. Connor, you're an old school RPG fan. You've played this game before, but it's been a while.
It has been a while.
And tell us, how did you feel about Final Fantasy VII in 2024?
The same as I did back when I first played it. I loved it. Overall, when I was going through it, I kind of decided, because before it was one of my favorite games of all time, and I can say definitively that it's not. Going through it, as much as I loved it, there's other games that I prefer to this one, primarily because a lot of the age does show in, particularly when you're going across the world. You touched on it earlier, Tavin. The backgrounds, which look extremely nice, they seem to be more made just for that reason rather than being used as an area for your character to walk on. Or it should have been just kept as a background, and the area that your character treads should be a different style. Because very often I would get into certain areas and just have no idea where to go. One of the things, the version that we all played, has things that you can do to fast forward the game, to turn off random encounters, and God mode. I never turned that on, so I have no clue about the specifics of everything that it does.
It at the beginning of every turn, it refills all health, mana, and limit break. So you can still lose in it if a enemy does more damage than what your health is. But as soon as like that enemy turns, that specific enemy finishes their turn, you get all your stats boosted back up to 100%.
Yeah. So that's how I was. I mean, whenever I would challenge the weapons, I would have that enabled, and I would still get one hit killed. I just wanted to add, I would get fucking lost on that map so many times. I'd be like, where the fuck is Rocket Town? Where am I going?
Dude, it took me so long to find is it Mount Corel, the one where to find to get to the golden saucer? Dude,
yes.
I cannot find that fucking town for the life of me. It takes me fucking forever every single time, and it's so frustrating. I'm so glad I'm past the golden saucer. For all clarity, I have not finished my personal playthrough. I'm 35 hours deep. The rule on this show is for big games to at least break 20 hours. I'm 35 deep. I've played the game multiple times. I played the game a year ago exactly, so I'm very familiar with it, with the entire package. The reason I did not finish my playthrough is because I am hard stopping in the third act, disc 3, I guess you would call it, or something like that. I'm hard stopping my story progress to acquire all the limit breaks and grind out for beating the weapons and so forth, because I intend to platinum this game.
That's like I want to say, because like the big part happens right before disc 2.
Yeah, the big spoiler. Yeah, that is the end of disc 1 is when that happens, and then you leave the Forgotten City, and it makes you switch. I don't remember there ever being a defined ending to disc 2.
I never saw it. Yeah.
So it did like the transition for me between like basically just the final area.
Okay. Gotcha. It must be some specific side stuff like is also on disc 3. Anyways, Connor, continue. We cut you off.
Yeah, no problem. The other thing this game includes is to turn off random encounters. The fast forward really helps make this game more playable in the modern times. Very often when you're going across the world, your character model goes pretty slowly, and sometimes there's long stretches where you're just walking and walking and walking. Speeding up the game, eliminates that problem entirely. It eliminates any repetitiveness that might come with the combat. So, in those small moments where you're just waiting for, everyone's meter to go up, you don't have to sit through just, enemy attack animations and whatnot. You can just go right through it. The random encounter button did help. Turning that on prevented some of the more annoying aspects of traversing the world and, getting caught on random things and not knowing where to go, particularly in one area.
Level grinding, though.
Yeah, it does, but I never had a problem with that because I'm just so good at the game. But it was especially notable in the Temple of the Ancients, which Tavin and I had a conversation off camera about how badly that area is designed and complicated to go through. And one of the puzzles in particular, we both agreed were just was just terrible, where you're trying to go through these stone circles and.
They're basically like
Yeah,
running
they're
you
not-
over. They're like little wheels with holes cut in them that you gotta dodge into the holes. Phil Shoemaker from the Peanut Gallery.
Yeah, so talking about the turning off random encounter thing. So I guess when this game was opening, I'm one to like fiddle around with the controller a lot whenever I'm waiting for things. So I accidentally turned off random encounters and didn't mean to. And so like
That explains how he got through
halfway-
Midgar so
Yeah,
fast.
I know.
I was like, damn,
like
bro.
halfway through Midgar, I'm like, I figured there'd be more random encounters, but I guess they're not until after I get out and like I'm on the overworld.
No.
And then I'm looking through things and it has like a list of all the like button commands. And I'm like, oh, did I accidentally put both sticks in at the same time? I guess I did, and I turned that back on. So
Yeah, a little oversight.
Yeah. Random encounters I almost never turned on. I'm so glad they've added these cheats to the game because that's how I first played the game. Is God mode, no encounters, ×3 speed the whole time. That's how I first played it.
Because it was after the first.
Don't
the remake.
recommend playing that because you get to some boss fights that you're like, oh, now I have to go outside and go grind out in the hallway for an hour or two because I'm just not high enough level for this. Don't recommend that. I fully recommend play the game with random encounters on. Don't play the game in God mode. But yeah, turn the 3x speed on because getting past those long animations, getting past the waiting out turns and so forth, and then sometimes when it's just like Sephiroth is just floating in the air for like a solid minute, and I'm like, bro, just fucking sit down. like, come on, can we get a move on here?
Yeah.
Fucking asshole that guy
I
is.
can count on one hand the amount of times I turned ×3 speed off.
Yeah, I mean, Sephiroth, since it was brought up, great villain. He's a character when he comes on screen, he has that presence where, basically anything can happen, especially after Aerith dies. I mean, spoiler, my bad. It's like it brings in this element of uncertainty, which is always a really good thing with villains.
It's really weird that they just took this like super boss from Kingdom Hearts and made him like the main villain of this game.
Yeah, very strange decision. But those guys at Square Enix, they're just so in their own heads about things. They just do that.
Yeah,
but
really up their own ass.
I'm happy it led to him being included in 7 Remake. That was a very good decision. But aside from that, yeah, damn it, what are you not confused?
I'm very confused.
Very obvious.
I'm not on camera right now. Don't react to my reactions.
But anyway, the plot, as Tavin said earlier, is great. It's constantly pulling fast ones on you. Even by the end of it, you're uncertain about certain things, tying it back into Sephiroth with the mind games that he plays with Cloud. You're just kind of left being on the more optimistic side of viewing things, but fan theories, they can go crazy of like, oh, but is Cloud actually blah, blah, blah? I'm not going to go into super detail. Play the game yourself if you want to be given an analysis. But the writing from moment to moment isn't all that great, but I think it kicks in when the moments really need it. Particularly moments with Red 13 are great. Barrett's storyline, as well as basically anything with Tifa and Cloud when they're really going through their relationship troubles. But, one of the things I think I definitely do disagree is, with you, Tavin, specifically, is I think the characters never really become side characters and become irrelevant. Of course, certain things happen with Barrett, for example, and once his kind of situation is resolved, you don't get a lot more of his stuff because what else is there to tell, really? But constantly pulls one with Red 13, going to Cosmo Canyon. There's a scene you didn't know about until recently where a character dies that's important to him, and that's a whole other sequence as well. You have a moment in the game where Sid is made the party leader, and he kind of like, it's not one of the best
Worst
moments,
part of the
but
game.
he perks. No, it's not bad at all.
Shut
He perks
up.
up. He's like, I'm going to go.
Shut up.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Well, you're telling
Just
him
let
to
me
shut
be
up, right?
Barrett. Let me be Barrett.
But
Why am I not Barrett?
I'm telling Tavin to shut up because I like Sid.
Sid
Yeah.
sucks. All right,
No, he doesn't.
let's just get into it. All right,
No, he
let's
doesn't
get rid of the
suck. He
nitty gritty.
doesn't suck.
Spoilers, whatever. We're in this deep. Sid sucks. Piece of shit person. Just awful. Now I will say in Rebirth, I expect him to be one of my favorite characters.
He's
you know?
just brash.
He's
brash,
an
that's
asshole. He's a fucking dickhead. He's an abusive,
brash.
sexist piece of shit.
He's brash. No, he's
Um,
not sexist. He's just brash.
He's sexist.
Hey, she
Can I
shouldn't
tell
have
you
fucked
something?
up his goddamn lawn. That's
And,
what she
and
shouldn't
he
have done.
assaults her all the time.
He
I tell
assaults
Is
you
that his
something?
wife or
No, it's just a person that
It's just
she
a
worked
person.
with. Yeah.
They just live together.
So-
Yeah.
Weird.
So in the Team 4-Star, I don't know if you're familiar with Team 4-Star, they make the Dragon Ball Z abridged they did a machine abridged to Final Fantasy VII, which I referenced earlier. In that story, they make Sid and Shira. I think that's her name, Shira.
Yeah,
Sounds right.
Shara.
They give them a relationship, and she pegs him. So like he gives her all this shit and everything, and then at some point he's like, "Do I have to make you take me down to the basement again?"
Do I have to make you take me down? That's fucking funny. No, but like my point to the characters fading in the background is characters like Sid, characters like Vincent, and even Red 13. Like specifically, like once you get on the high wind, they're just there to just be like, "All right, Cloud, we can do it." And that's pretty much it from them. And Barrett kind of falls into that too, but less so than the others. Tifa, I think, is the only one who really keeps her character throughout the entire game.
She was always like that from the beginning. But to your point about Vincent, his character stuff comes from you having to look around the world for him. I know you missed his side story involving, well, honestly,
I just haven't done it yet. I just haven't done it yet. But like, I'm talking main plot. Like the thing that every single player sees. The rest of the party just kind of fades away entirely.
Fair enough. I mean, I would say Red 13.
What didn't you do?
Oh, there's a bunch of side story stuff with Vincent involving how exactly he ended up. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you would have to for the limit break.
Yeah. I figured you do.
I thought you were saying he didn't do something for Barrett, and I was like, I thought you had to.
No, yeah, that's a must.
Yeah.
That's a must.
Yeah, that's one of the musts. Was the other character that you were soft on Sid? That was the other one you didn't like?
Kate Sith.
No, you said there was two. Definitely.
I started with Sid.
Yeah, but earlier, is that the other character you said? Like
Kate Sith is my number one. Cannot stand this fucking character. Hate him. Absolutely nothing redeemable about this character. He's just the worst.
Everyone thinks that. Yeah,
he's just awful. He's terribly written. They try to make a sacrifice play that totally doesn't matter. And he's just a piece of shit traitor spy. And you know what? I don't fucking stand for it. Now, again, in Rebirth, which is coming out in a month, do I expect that to be better? Absolutely.
They fix that in the Team 4-star mission abridged. They make him more sympathetic.
Damn.
Okay, but that's not canon. That's not what we have in the actual fucking
feels
game.
Like which one's the game and which one's the video?
No. Kate Sith is one of the worst characters of all time. Easily like bottom of the barrel, trash bin, just fucking piece of shit.
Not even a good party member.
Yeah, and useless in the fight too.
Yeah.
I'm grinding him out for his limit break right now, and I'm like, this guy sucks.
You don't
trash.
like the dice? You don't like the dice?
Is stupid. This is stupid. Why does it only hit one person? I'm sure it gets better as I keep going, but like it's just a useless character.
It still stays single target is the thing.
Does it really?
Yeah.
What a piece of shit character.
Mm-hmm.
What an awful
He
character.
only has two limits.
Hey, it makes him. You have to play him less. At least you two. Getting that platinum.
It's like they knew he was bad, so why did you keep him? Why didn't you just cut him out?
Okay, you say that. Why is he one of the only playable characters in 7 Rebirth? Huh? Why couldn't they just?
Because he enters the plot before. What Connor's
different.
referring to is in 7 Rebirth. Who is it? Sid and Vincent are not playable.
They're not.
Yeah, but they're gonna be in the party. You just can't play as them. They're
What?
just gonna be like NPCs running around in the background. They did the same thing to Red 13 in Remake, where like he just came in so late that he just kind of plays around.
But we're gonna get to play as Red 13 in Rebirth, right?
Yeah. The reason why it was Red 13 wasn't playable in the last one, as Tavin just said, is it's so later in the game, and Sid and Vincent are probably going to be similar, particularly Vincent, that it just kind of, on the developer side of things, very hard to make all of these new characters in a game, especially ones that aren't getting much time in the one where they're going to be introduced.
And it's also like you're already getting so many new characters to play as in this one.
Yeah,
like you have your four. You have your 4 from the possibly Zach. You never know. You have your 4 from the beginning.
True.
You have plus Red 13 plus Yuffie plus Kate Sith. You've doubled the roster. You know?
That's not the problem. The problem is I want to play as Sid and Vincent, particularly.
All right. Well, do you want this game out now, or do you want it out in another 3 years?
I want it out now. God damn it! I'm just gonna bitch.
This is what you get, Connor.
I'm just gonna complain.
There's a whole other game coming.
I don't care. I want them for 2 games, not 1 game.
He's not trying to be rational. He wants what he wants.
Yes, exactly. I'm just complaining, Tavin. I can complain.
I just want dual techs. If they give me dual techs, I'm gonna be happy.
Dual techs?
Yeah.
What?
Like a la Chrono Trigger dual techs where they get to combine their things.
Yeah.
We basically had it confirmed from like trailers and
we've already
combat
seen
videos.
tons of it. From
we've seen how they combine together and stuff. Yeah, I'm excited for that. Rebirth is going to be so much fun, but we're not talking about Rebirth right now.
And you know, the level design really is not good.
Oh, dude, it's so
It's really
awful.
not. Unfortunately, I kind of give it leeway in the sense of some of it's because of the graphics, but at the same time, the design and layout of some of the levels just don't work.
I cut them a lot of slack because they're dealing with new technology. This is one of those first iteration 3D games. It cheats a lot of the time. It's not actually a 3D game, but like running around in the open world. I give it a lot of slack for that. It's annoying getting lost in the open world and like going in a direction you go, fuck, can't go this way. There's a river. Fuck, can't go this way. There's a mountain. Okay. You get the shitty little tiny Bronco and you're like, all right, now I can kind of fly around or whatever and I can find my way. You go, fuck, why is this end? Why does the path end on this continent? Why can't I just keep going? What the fuck?
When you're crossing rivers? Is that what you're referring to?
The little shallow water areas that you can fly the tiny Bronco over. There's areas where like it just stops, and you're like, my destination is literally right there. I can see it. Like, just let me get there. And that's annoying. But I cut them a lot of slack for that because it's like, all right, well, you didn't really know what you were doing. You were handling technology, and this is why like some of the things that like don't work today, I'm willing to give it a lot of slack because I'm like, you were figuring something else out. Like, meanwhile, trying to make a game, you know?
Yeah.
Like, if this was pixel art like Final Fantasy VI, I think this would definitively be the best Final Fantasy game, hands down, no conversation. It's also worth noting a lot of the mini games aren't good. Some of them are fun. Some of them are cool. The bike, the little riding on the bike and slashing things, that's kind of cool. Yeah, that's really my only one. All the others I don't really like that much.
Not the boxing one?
Boxing one's okay.
Yeah.
Boxing one's okay.
Hard knowing Phil, huh?
I think most of them are like, yeah, all right, fine, whatever. And then there's a couple that are just like, fuck, I hate this. Every goddamn time it pops up, I hate it.
The boxing one is so nothing.
Yeah, but it's like easy and functional and you can get through it no problem. Chocobo racing pisses me off.
Oh, yeah.
I hate Chocobo racing.
I cannot believe I won the first try.
So did I.
I did in all my other playthroughs. I did not this playthrough, but I'm glad I didn't this playthrough because on the second attempt, it gave me the trophy. I've beaten this game twice on PlayStation, and it won't let me fucking get the goddamn trophy until I lost and then won. Weird. Don't know what that was about. Snowboarding's annoying.
Yes. They confirmed no snowboarding in Rebirth.
That'll probably just tell you where Rebirth is going to end.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, in part 3, there's gonna be snowboarding. Like, we're just gonna get it, anyways. But yeah, I genuinely like the overall gameplay loop. I really, really love, and I get the idea behind the minigames. I understand that it's like, hey, let's break up the pacing. Let's give the player something new to do. But more times than not, I'm just sitting there wishing, I'm like, can I just like explore a new area? Like, I'm in a snow land. That's enough now. You know, like me being in the snow and seeing new enemies is enough. You don't need to keep doing this. Or like giving me different vehicles to traverse the land is enough to break up the gameplay. Or just like the little like segmented gameplay things where they're like, hey, you're doing this now. Like, that's okay. I'm cool with that. Like the CPR minigame or having to press the button at the same time, which totally doesn't fucking work. No, it's very annoying. And even we're harping on the Temple of the Ancients, but like the way that each room has its own gimmick is kind of cool. It's annoying to go through more often than it isn't, but it works for the most part.
It's held back by the way you just, once again, traverse through the world.
Yeah, there's a lot of times where I sit there and I go, I don't understand what I'm doing wrong. I know what they want me to do. I feel like I know how to do it. And there are just times where it's just like the game is telling me I'm doing it wrong and I don't understand how. A great example of this for me is when you get to the northern crater in the wind. The first one, easy. Everyone after that, I have trouble figuring out when the correct timing is. And it just became an annoying little thing where I had to keep like, oh, fuck, got knocked back. Now I'm in a battle. Now I got to fight the battle. All right, I finished the battle because it's easy. All right, do it again. Fucked it up. Now I'm in a battle. It's the exact same battle every time. So I'm just fighting this fucking what are the
dragon?
No, but
Drake.
What are like the underwater dragon things? Scaly guys, little tiny guys. Called dragon something. Real life thing.
I know what you're talking about.
Real life animal that I'm talking about. Dragon.
Real life animal. Ray? What the fuck?
No, what? No, like the little.
Dragonflies?
No, that's not it. 'Cause
We're talking
that's
about real life animals?
a real life
Yeah.
animal. It's underwater. It's got like a little horse. A seahorse. I'm thinking of a seahorse.
Is that what anything? Was he named anything related to a seahorse?
No.
Yeah.
You kept saying dragon.
Because the fuckers look like dragons. All right, they look like dragons. Anyways, all right, whatever.
Oh my god.
But yeah, back to my point. Like,
Flip that out.
There's moments like that where I'm like, yeah, this is kind of annoying. I wish it wasn't here. But like that breaks up the pacing enough. Why are you forcing me to go down this snowboarding minigame that fucking sucks? And then why does it lead to another one of the worst parts of the game where you're just lost in this open area? And I still to this day have no idea how to navigate that area right after the snowboarding. I've did it twice, and then the second time I did it, the game had locked me out of the crater. So it was like, hey, you just need to find your way back. And I'm like, where do I go? I don't understand.
Sounds like you're not a good explorer, Tavin. You'd
Did
be
it do that
lost on the
thing-
Lewis and Clark expedition.
Did it do that thing? Yeah, with Pocahontas, right?
Continuation joke.
Call
Yeah.
back. So did it do the thing where like you tried to go back up the mountain and the guy in the cabin came out like, hey, you can't go up there anymore?
Yeah, that's what happens. Yeah, the second time you go through that area, like after
I ran into that too.
And it happened, and I went, oh fuck, I'm fucked. I have no idea how to get back, and so I spent 20 minutes figuring that out.
The music's amazing, by the way.
Oh my god, the
It hits
music is
every
so
single
fucking good.
time. Aerith's theme, Tifa's theme, fucking literally you could go any area you go into has good music.
The fact that like the battle theme, the victory theme, none of those things get old, and you hear them so often. Like I remember the first time I played this game and I was grinding. I had my door open. My mom and my sister are watching TV in the living room, right? And I just remember finishing a battle. This is 20 plus hours into the game. Finishing a battle and hearing my sister in the other room go na 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 na. But like I then went, sorry, I know it's annoying, and she goes, what? What's annoying? It wasn't annoying. It just got stuck in her head because it's so catchy and pleasant to listen to. And also to add to that, sound design for the most part is pretty good.
Yeah.
Like all the little bleeps and boops and little like things to trigger in your brain, like and like sword slashes and all that. It all sounds great.
I mean, the classic enemy dying.
Yeah, that's a good noise.
Yeah.
It's a good noise.
My favorite is the dog bark was like,
That dog. Okay, the dog bark's not great. Okay,
It's comedic. And you know what? We talked on enemies a second. I love the variety of enemies in this game and how they consistently are rolled out as you go across
there's
the
a
world.
lot of
They're always doing
stupid
enough.
ones.
There's a lot of stupid ones, but there's a lot of good ones.
When
And
I'm
so it
just
keeps on
fighting
going
a
through.
pair of dice, I'm like, all right, what are we doing here? You know,
You gotta fight the right dice, Tavin. Well, that's not the.
when
those
I'm
the one
fighting
that's- never mind.
a rhino with treadmills, I'm like, what the fuck is
What
happening?
are you talking?
right now?
That's Shinra, dude. That's what they
stupid.
do.
Are you
That's their
talking
thing.
about tank? Are you talking about Tank Ceratops?
Yeah, man. Yeah,
That's
bro.
what I'm talking about. You just pointed out a good thing about the enemies in this game.
That's
And you're
totally
listening
going to be
to
the
bad.
Hell House moment in Rebirth.
Just
is the
try-
Triceratops.
We're gonna
Yeah.
pog face all over that.
But to that, Hell House is fucking stupid. like it's dope in Remake, but it's stupid here. I'm like, this is so dumb.
But it's Hell House.
I
But
never
it
even
is
ran
Hell
into Hell House.
It's only in one area.
Yep.
And if you accidentally have random encounters turned off, makes sense how you never ran into Hell House.
Yeah. He definitely missed that one.
Missed all the ghosts too. He's gonna be very confused in Remake when he plays Remake, and he has like this huge section with ghosts. You're like, when the fuck did this happen? One screen.
One screen. God
One
damn.
screen. They turned it into a 3-hour level.
It was funny. Sorry, kind of going back to music. I know we were talking about enemies, but it was funny because like when I was playing through this game, that's when people decided to release the mashup of the Final Fantasy battle theme and the London Bridge, and it actually is so good.
I hadn't
And,
heard that.
You haven't heard it?
Nah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I run into
I
this
think
guy
it's
on
just funny.
TikTok. I run into this guy on TikTok all the time, where it's like, if it's like he does like he's like DJing a wedding, and it's like if this person's into this property, and then like throughout the song he's like adding more and more cosplay stuff to himself, and like he's playing through the the like for London Bridge, right? And then he starts sprinkling in the and it like goes together so good. Oh, it's
So
So good,
phenomenal.
the music.
to dive into, in my opinion, the biggest spoiler of the game, I have a question for you, Phil, because I think the game leaves a lot up to interpretation. And I didn't realize how much it left to interpretation until this playthrough. What is your interpretation of Cloud and his backstory?
So Cloud grew up in Nibelheim, right?
Okay.
With little Tifa. He was kind of a loner. He wasn't really like that close to Tifa until he like meets her on the water tower, right? And then he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna be I promise, I'm gonna be cool. I'm gonna join Soldier." And then he doesn't end up in Soldier. He's just a regular grunt for Shinra.
Yeah.
And then he comes back with Zack and Sephiroth, right? To Nibelheim. And he's like one of the foot soldier guys that's there, because like the actual soldier dude that you play as when you're Cloud doing the memory is Zack. And then the whole thing with Sephiroth happens where
Sephiroth turns evil.
he killed.
Very
he
fast.
he kills Tifa's dad. He goes through and sets Nibelheim on fire and all that. And then
kills Cloud's mom? Question mark?
Yeah, because he burned everything down.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely Cloud's mom's dead. So then he, I guess, knocks Cloud out, or like hurts him really bad. And then Zack is
This is when it gets tricky.
almost.
This is
He's
when it gets tricky.
nearly. Zack is nearly killed,
Uh-huh.
and Zack takes Cloud with him, trying to go back to Midgar, right?
You're missing one important piece of information in the game, at least. Like, I think you have to go dive into the secret areas, like returning to Nibelheim and Disc 3 level stuff to find this flashback.
Are we talking about how Cloud has Genova cells or whatever, or Sephiroth DNA?
Cloud and
like that?
Zack are, after the Nibelheim incident, Cloud and Zack are kidnapped by Shinra, and they are held.
Hojo.
By Hojo. And they're held underneath Nibelheim Manor and experimented
library
on
area,
for
yeah. Yep.
how many years?
It's 2 years, I believe.
Is it 2?
Something like
Because
that.
Two or three?
because Cloud, no, that's 2. Because Cloud thinks that he was away for 5 years.
5
when he was
years,
away
and it
for
was 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So yeah, they're experimented on for 2 years, and then in Crisis Core you play Zack and Cloud breaking out. But there should be a flashback somewhere in this game. I've just never seen it.
There is, yeah.
There is. I've seen the cutscene of Zack dying in the original game, but I've personally
And how he
never
just gets
found it.
fucking gunned down.
Yeah, man. They
Jesus.
just and that scene doesn't play out well in this
No,
game. It's
like,
anytime
it's so
gunfire
hopeful.
happens, it looks corny.
It's so hopeful, and all of a sudden just.
Yeah. Oh fuck! It's so fucking Crisis Core. What a moment.
Yeah, the best part of that game.
Best part of
Fuck
the
yeah.
game. Best part.
Yeah.
But there's 40 hours around the rest of that experience that you're like, this is
40?
okay at best. Maybe like 25,
20.
30.
Yeah, I thought it was like 20.
No, it's
Tony,
definitely
I don't-
more
I
than
don't-
20.
Connor, I don't trust your concept of time, because you thought this game was 20 hours long.
Yeah,
so.
no.
Yeah, fair enough.
Crisis Core is long. There's a lot of filler. There's a whole villain that you're like, this guy sucks. Yeah, so they're kidnapped and experimented on, and that's where the Genova cells come in, and that's where like Cloud gets a level up in that moment, and doesn't become the level of a soldier, but gets the ability to grind out and become that awesome throughout the course of the game.
Yeah. It just leaves it in a weird place where the story you told is what I think happens. But earlier there was like super confident of like when Sephiroth was showing them the vision of Zack in place of Cloud. They're like, oh, this is a fake thing. It's bullshit.
You're not a real person.
Yeah.
Like Genova has infiltrated Tifa's mind to put fake memories in there, and you're like, what? And I've just come down to Sephiroth is fucking with them and he's lying.
Yeah.
Yes, but you thought he was lying initially, but then he definitely wasn't. He was telling the truth. So that little sprinkling of truth adds doubt to everything
He's
else.
a really good liar.
He
He's
is.
a really good liar. Where
And-
he ties it all together in a way to where you're like, that makes too much
That's how you
sense.
make a good lie.
Yeah,
how you
that
make a
is.
good lie is you put a sprinkle of truth in it.
My favorite moment in regards to that is later on when Cloud and Tifa are trying to, in Cloud's mind, reckon of like, who am I? Am I real? Am I a clone entirely made
Another
in the
moment
lab?
that fails because of the level of presentation. Like in concept, it's cool.
With
And-
the giant cloud in the
Yeah,
background.
the giant Cloud, dude, and like the young Cloud walking around, and then the 3 different versions of Cloud that go into young Cloud. I'm like, this is not hitting. This is not working at all. I'm confused.
But one part I would say that does is they recall a memory of where Cloud helped Tifa and yada, yada, yada. And they draw on that as an early enough memory to know that Sephiroth couldn't have, like, fucked with it.
Isn't it Cloud's comforting her after her mom dies?
No, it was like Tifa went to go into the reactor.
She runs out into the mountains because she thinks she can find her mom out there, and Cloud runs after her. And then they fall and they get hurt, and then the town people blame Cloud for that, and then it works as a bonding moment between the two to where they can then have again. This is like the writing isn't very good because it is not believable that Cloud and Tifa would become any type of friendly off of that moment in the way that it's presented in this game. And it's moments like that where I'm like, the writing is not believable in key moments where it needs to be. On top of the fact that you're dealing with like dual and at some points even triple narratives all at once. You're like, this is a lot. There's a lot happening, and there's only so much text you can put on screen. You got to in so many words tell me what's happening, and it's tough. It's a high concept moment, and I appreciate it. And on replay, you can see how layered it is, the narrative is, and I commend it for being super layered because it allows replays to be more interesting. It was only on this replay that I realized when Cloud gets a headache and there's a text coming up on screen, there's a voice talking to him. I thought I thought it was his memory of Zack, or it was Cloud, like real Cloud saying, "Hey, wake up, wake up." No, it's not. It's Sephiroth talking to him. And I'm like, oh, shit, that's fucking cool.
See, just small, cool moments like that. And just to, real quick, finish off my original point, they use that as kind of like a reassuring moment to say, like, okay, we actually have, something to draw on as you being, who you think you are. But it still adds that element of, are they just reassuring themselves, or is that truly what happened? And that's kind of a moment where it leaves it up to interpretation, which just makes that whole entire plot more interesting. And it's why it's a big part of the focus of Remake and Rebirth, I'm assuming, going forward.
Phil, you over here sucking dick or something? What's going on over there?
Oh, he's drinking the cum. Look at him. He's chewing on it. Oh, my God.
Oh, God,
that's
it's
fucking
thick.
disgusting. It's
Oh,
like
my
raw
God.
milk. It's like spoiled milk.
It's curdled.
He's not denying it. Look at him. Freak. Look at a smirk.
No.
52 minutes talking about Final Fantasy
Oh my
VII.
God, that fucking flew by. Let me tell you what. I didn't even start the B-roll. It's not here yet. Oh, I fucked up that screen. Well, gentlemen, I think we're there. Right?
Yeah.
I think it's time.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and let's rank this bad boy, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, ladies and gentlemen, as always, every month we rank the game we review amongst all the other games we've played in the list. The current list, as it stands right now, is number 1, God of War Ragnarok. Number 2, The Last of Us. Number 3, Hades. Number 4, Yakuza 0. Number 5, Portal 2. Number 6, Shovel Knight. Number 7, Dishonored. Number 8, Chrono Trigger. Excuse me. Number 9, Resident Evil. Number 10, Portal. Number 11, Resident Evil 4. Number 12, Mario 64. Number 13, Shadow of the Colossus. Number 14, Halo Combat Evolved. Number 15, Uncharted Drake's Fortune. Number 16, Batman Arkham Asylum. Number 17, Tomb Raider. Number 18, Prey. Number 19, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze.
This has been the hard part.
This is a hard one. Going into this review, I was like, oh, for sure, it's landing at this spot. And then I was playing it, and I was like, I don't know if it is. But the more I play it, and the more I enjoy it, the more I'm like, oh, actually, it is in that spot. So I have a spot in my mind. And I feel like I have a spot in your mind, Connor. Phil, you are the one that
Don't go to me.
Don't go to
Don't
Phil.
go to
He
me.
doesn't want to. He's
Don't go to
split.
me.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and I'll start the bidding off here, gentlemen. This one's ranking very, very high for me. This is one of my favorite games ever. It's not hitting like my top 10 or anything, but it is one of my favorite video games ever. It's one of my favorite RPGs I've ever played by far. And so, I mean, I think the conversation immediately becomes top 5 worthy. I think this game is more replayable than Portal 2. I think it's more enjoyable than Portal 2. It's longer than Portal 2. And and it's arguably more important to gaming history than Portal 2. Actually, definitively, it's more important than gaming history. Can we just talk for a second? We didn't even mention it. Yo, this game killed the princess. In 1997, when every video game objective was save the princess, this game kills her. That's fucking dope. I also... God damn it. I forgot my fucking lead off. Let me get in here. Let me talk to you guys real quick. Let's have an honest moment here. For several years now, all right, I've always said that Last of Us Part 2 is gaming's first true tragedy. And I still hold true to that. I still think it is. But this one is the closest example of a true tragedy in gaming prior to that game. I think it falls short in that it still makes you feel like Cloud won the day. Like, you still kind of feel good at the end of the game, even though later iterations into the series made you understand that, oh, it actually isn't a good ending. But the game wants you to think it's a good ending. So I think that's...
The post-credit scene makes it a good ending.
Yeah. And just like the way that they make you feel like, oh, like all is restored and so forth. Now, later things like Advent Children and Crisis Core and Remake have shown us to be like, oh, it's actually not a good ending. But the game makes you think it is. So I don't think it's a true tragedy, but it is the closest example we've got before The Last of Us Part 2, which is in fact 100% a true tragedy. Yakuza 0, I've said many times, is way too high on this list, and I think Final Fantasy VII clears Yakuza 0 easily. Not even a conversation worth having. The real conversation to me is, does this game beat out Hades? And this is the one that I keep going back and forth on. When we first picked this game, or when Connor picked this game last month, I was like, oh, for sure. Absolutely better than Hades. But Hades is so good in every category of like video game objectivity that it's like, oh wait, no, this is more of a conversation than I was thinking it is. In fact, when I was playing through the Midgar segments, I was like, oh no, this game is not better than Hades. Like, absolutely. But then I just kept going, and I just kept playing, and it just kept being so charming and fun, and I love the story. I love the characters so much, even though I have my grievances with the writing and with how the characters behave in the later parts of the game. And I just think the narrative is more layered to where, like, Hades is inherently, because it's a roguelike, it's inherently replayable. It's inherently pick up the game, you know what it is 100% of the time. But once you finish the actual narrative of Hades, I don't think it's worth going back to 0. I do feel like it's worth going back to 0 here in Final Fantasy VII. I think by that definition of replaying, of starting from 0, I think Final Fantasy VII is a more replayable game. And the story is so layered that I have gotten something new from it every single time I've played it. And you know what? I'm gonna do it, man. I'm gonna put, I think Last of Us and God of War Ragnarok are still better games, but I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna put Hades at I'm gonna put Final Fantasy VII at number 3, finally dethroning Hades from the top 3 for me personally. Connor.
Yeah, I was in the same exact spot as you, literally. But as is often on this show, when we're in the discussion phase, that's really where it changes. And I had far more to say about this game than Hades. You know, Yakuza 0, honestly, comes pretty close to it. It's a very tight race between them, but I think overall it clears it. You know, it really does come down to, is it better than Hades or just slightly not as good as Hades? I even had a moment where I was like, is it better than Last of Us? And I was like, yeah, Last of Us is able to do what it wants in a shorter amount of time, which I think just puts it over. And I think having more hard-hitting emotional moments, it's way easier to do that when you're just having two characters have a nice, strong relationship. I think it's better than God of War Ragnarok. I've been on the record saying that's the game on this list where I say it's too high, but I'm not going to put it over Last of Us for that reason. But I'm going to put it over Hades. I'm going to put it at the new number 3 spot. See, I was debating, once again, this comes out in the discussion phase, the replayability was really what was putting Hades, putting it in the conversation of putting it in front of Final Fantasy VII. Yeah. But you make a great point. I would not play Hades again from the start. When we did it for the Games Cast, I didn't enjoy it as much as starting this one from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And I think the plot really carries it along, and the stronger core characters of it do so as well. And so for that reason, I'm going to put it just over Hades.
Oh yeah. Well, Phil, where's your vote lying? Where are you feeling?
I hate y'all.
Yeah.
I'm guessing a lot lower.
See, here's the thing, Tavin. I was with you.
Oh.
And when you mentioned top 5, I originally was gonna put this like 6.
Oh, okay.
But then you brought up how like it's definitely more replayable than Portal 2, and that I agree with. I'm not mad at putting it at number 5.
Okay.
But that's where I draw the fucking line.
No, absolutely not.
That's
This
fair.
game
That's
is such
fair.
a-
That's extremely fair.
This game, like, honestly, oddly enough, Yakuza 0 and Final Fantasy 7, I have a lot of very similar issues with between those two games. Like, a lot of those issues kind of like directly contrast and compare. But Final Fantasy 7 has such higher highs, and Yakuza 0, I think, has much lower lows. Where, like, there are moments in Yakuza 0 that I did not enjoy. And there were moments narratively that happened in Yakuza 0 that totally took the wind out of the sails for me in the narrative. And I can't remember that plot. Like, I cannot tell you what happens beat to beat. Somebody dies in the beginning. There's a thing about a land plot. A girl gets involved at some point, and then the rest of the game happens. And I get to the end and I go, all right, cool. I liked the journey, but I couldn't tell you what happened in it. The combat between the two games are equally repetitive in my mind. So to me, I just think the overall package of Final Fantasy VII takes it above Yakuza 0 for sure. Hades is the one that I'm like, could go either way. Like, and I would understand. I would understand the case for Hades. Like, I get it, but I just think the highs of Final Fantasy VII and how important it is to the story of video games, and how like I would even right now in this moment, I'd rather start from 0 and play Final Fantasy VII again than play Hades again.
Yeah, fair enough. Also, the pacing of Yakuza 0.
It's
makes it where
so
Final Fantasy
awful.
7's a
But
bit
the
better.
pacing's not good in this game either.
But you have speed up.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I guess this conversation where Tavin's bashing Hades, well, you are bashing Hades, but that's not what I meant. Where you're bashing Yakuza 0 is proof
You're
as to why
bashing
I'm the one reviewing Infinite Wealth.
You are indeed, and that review is coming very, very soon, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you keep an eye out and subscribe to that. But that now puts Final Fantasy VII in the top 3. In fact, it's number 3, above Hades, but below The Last of Us.
I'll get over it, but I don't like this.
Yeah.
Nah, man. Like, I feel like even like through the old game, because like Phil occasionally is like, yeah, old game, old type stuff. But like the fact that this game can still fight through that for him, and he's still enjoying it, and he's still planning on platinuming it alongside with me, I think that really shows just how good the core of the game is. You
It
know what I
helps
mean?
it helps that I learned I can remote play at work.
All the better.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be the ranking. I forgot. I was about to wrap up the show. But we have to
Right.
know what we're playing next month, or through the course of this next month.
This, of course, has been the month where Connor picked, and then we now go back to the wheel for this month, and then next month we go to me.
We do indeed.
Mm-hmm.
The wheel makes its return.
We have
And-
to do our vetoes.
Of course, just so that we can sort of like garner how this next month is going to go, because we also time it with the reviews of the latest and greatest games that are coming out. So make sure you subscribe to get great reviews, such as obviously Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is coming on its way. Tekken 8 is going to happen at some point, probably when Connor's ready for that. And then of course Persona 3 Reload, which then also the games that we vetoed last time have to stay in the list. Those games are Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Jedi Fallen Order, and Death Stranding. Those games are in the list. They got to stay in the list this week.
Hey. Hey.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here, Shovel Knight. We already played you.
Oh, it is in there. Interesting.
Tavin secretly just wanted to play it again.
Play it again. Play it again. We gotta run it back. Yes, it deserves to go above
Shovel Knight
Yakuza,
in the
guys.
list.
It needs to go above Yakuza.
You know, I think Shovel Knight needs to go below Shovel Knight.
Damn. Hard.
that's
that's a really
2
rough
inches
thing
to
to
Shovel
say.
Knight in the list. But obviously, this next month we have Persona 3 Reload coming. So I'm not trying to play Persona 3 OG. I'm not trying to do it. That's a lot of P3, and I don't have the time or the patience to do all that. On top of the fact we got Final Fantasy VII Rebirth happening, Helldivers 2 is happening. There's too many really big adventures happening for us to play.
I vote.
A game
I
like
vote.
Persona 3.
We just take after this next month. We just take Persona 3 out and then put Reload.
I want to see what Reload does first, and
Yeah.
what the general fan base says, because there still might be a case for playing the original game. And it's not like the original game's hard to get. It's on new consoles. You can play it. You know? So I think just the two games would get two different entries. Because it's an actual full remake as opposed to just like an expansion thing like Golden and Royal are. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Connor, do you know what Connor and or Phil, whoever wants to jump in first, what else are we taking out of this list for this next month?
I want long games gone right now.
Yeah, dude, we got so many long games happening.
You know, I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to nix Disco Elysium.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. I want to be able to spend my time with that game whenever we play it.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
a long one, so.
It is indeed. And then Phil, where are you at in here, man?
How long is? I'm trying to see.
Just say the. Oh well, I guess you're looking it up. What game?
I'm looking at all these games here, trying
There's
to see
quite a
like
few.
what. Yeah.
I'm trying to find Disco Elysium. It's in here. I think it's near the bottom.
I saw it. I saw it on the wheel bit.
Yeah,
but I
I'm
didn't
pretty
see
sure it is near the bottom.
There it is.
There we go.
I'm gonna say, Connor, as much as you love it, how long is Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines?
Oh, you can beat that game in like 8 hours. I recommend you.
Holy shit.
You can beat that game. It's a very short
What, can
campaign.
you realistically beat
Yeah.
that game in 8
It's a
hours?
short game,
Oh,
8
okay.
to 10 hours. I mean, like
okay.
you can sink 20 hours into that game.
I thought
easy
it
with
was
all the great side.
20
I thought it
hours
was
is
like a
not
big,
bad either. Like, but if it was it was like clearly more. Oh, also it's worth saying, Final Fantasy VII has exited the list, but we've inserted Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII. That's in the list. Not quite remake yet. It in our brain it just makes sense to play Crisis Core first. We do at some point. We need to do a watching of Advent Children just for shits and giggles.
Just for fun. Yeah, I'm down. Do we have another Final Fantasy game in here?
6.
Let's take that out.
Okay.
Fair enough. It's a long one too.
6s.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, boys.
I hope it's nothing long.
Listen,
but
if it's
given-
really long, we may have to boot and skip February and just come back in March. Like,
Yeah.
you know, but we're gonna, or I guess, you know what I mean. Come back in
Yeah,
April, I guess, really.
Yeah.
So here we go. Victims of the Wheel. Where is it gonna land? Where are we gonna play?
First time I've heard it in a while.
Yeah, I meant to mute it, but I guess I didn't. Oh boy, is it
Fable. Okay.
OG
Interesting.
Fable. Interesting.
I know that game's short as well.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I don't know a goddamn thing about Fable.
Is that on Game Pass?
I think
Surely
so.
it is.
13 hours. Good.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And I know the hack.
I don't know when I'm
do
gonna.
it.
I don't know when I'm gonna squeeze it in, but you know we'll get there.
Fable is not on PC Game Pass.
Oh, that sucks.
I don't know if it's on console, but you know,
It's on Steam.
I'm about to look it up.
Yeah,
It has to be on Steam,
I
right?
really hope it is because
No, yes, I think it is.
it's gonna make it very complicated.
Fable Anniversary, $35.
Oh, okay, great. There we go.
Why
Steam.
$35. It's an old game. Fucking
No, it's the anniversary version, Connor.
still an older version of the game. Yeah, when that game, I don't know, it came out
From 2014,
Yeah, that's too much.
Anniversary Edition.
Well,
For a
you
game like Fable?
like support art. You know, like stop being such a cheapskate. You know.
Yeah.
It's
No,
fine.
I will continue to be a cheapskate.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for your Final Fantasy VII review. Let us know how you felt about it, what you think about the original Final Fantasy VII. How excited are you for Rebirth? We definitely are quite excited. Phil, you can't play Rebirth until you play Remake. You got to play Remake.
Try and fucking stop me.
He's gonna be like, "What the fuck is happening?" Until next time, have a great time, and gentlemen, say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
See ya.